Tonight, get ready. He's moving up to Majority Leader, and he is going on the record. Current House Minority Whip Eric Cantor moments ago. Everybody's taxes go up. What do you intend to do between now and January 1?
Well, Greta, what we've got to do is try as we may and see if we can deliver to make sure that tax rates don't go up on anybody. Everyone realizes that we are at a place in this economy right now where unemployment has hovered at almost at 10% for too long. So hopefully when Congress goes back into session next week, we can actually see the president come to our direction and say, look, now's not the time to raise taxes, especially on businesses, small and large, our job creators, and we got to do everything we can to ensure that that happens.
Are you hearing anything? Have you heard anything from the Democrats? Have you heard anything from the White House as to, exactly what's going to happen or what they're planning on doing? Because now we hear this talk about perhaps compromise, but then we also hear that there are lines drawn in the sand because of different philosophical views between the two parties. I mean, what realistically do you think is going to happen?
Well, who knows what the Democrats will do? I mean, I know that they're in the process of electing their leaders just as we are in the House. And if Nancy Pelosi becomes the minority leader again, I know she has said, as the president has said, that they insist that the tax rates stay the same for those making under $200,000 a year, but somehow need to go up on higher earners. I talked to Secretary Geithner and the president both and expressed my desire to make sure that we didn't raise taxes on anybody right now. Because right now, Greta, as you know, job number one is to get more Americans back to work. We need our job creators to get back into the game and to look towards growth in the private sector, as that's where we're going to see jobs sustained over the long haul.
All right, so the hang-up seems to be between the Republicans and Democrats are people who make more than $250,000 a year, whether they will have the same tax level or whether their taxes go up come January 1. Do you see the Republicans giving on that point at all, or do you see the Democrats giving on that point at all?
No, I mean, one of the ideas that we've seen floated was this decoupling, that is that somehow we would extend the tax rates as they are for those making under 200 permanently or within the maximum budgetary window, and somehow do it less of a time for those higher earners. That is just a signal right then and there that we're going to raise taxes on small businesses. That's exactly what we don't need right now. What we need is certainty. What we need is to get the entrepreneurs and investors back being willing to commit capital. Look, we understand right now that people that do have capital are sitting on the sidelines because of the uncertainty surrounding the tax rates. We've got to put certainty back into the game and get these tax rates to stay the same right now, keep the tax rates in check so that we can go about beginning to grow this economy again.
Is there any way between now and January 1 that you would vote to let the tax rates go up on anybody?
Greta, right now we ought not be even discussing tax rates going up on anybody.
But it is.
But
it
the
is.
problem is, and right now.
It is. I mean, is your conviction so strong on that you say, between now and January 1, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen after the new year, what crisis could, happen to our country or not happen, but between now and January 1, as things are, is there any compromise that you could make, or maybe it's not even a compromise because of your conviction on this, but is there any way you could vote for taxes to go up on anybody?
No, and no, taxes shouldn't go up on anybody right now. This election, Greta, was really the American people saying they are tired of the lack of results in Washington. They want to see more jobs for more Americans. They want to see us to cut government spending, rein in the size of government so we can get this economy growing again. That was the prescription. That was the mandate that came from the people. And that's why we're saying that this president and his administration really need to take a step back and reassess, their ideological agenda, their class warfare agenda just didn't work. And the people demonstrated their belief that the Obama agenda didn't work by going to the polls and saying out with the Democratic majority in Congress. The stimulus didn't work. The cap and trade idea failed. The Obamacare concept, it has been rejected. So let's just get back to really what Americans are looking for. That's results, that's more jobs, that's less spending, that's less government. That's what the response was at the polls last Tuesday.
I assume that you've seen sort of the jostling for position, all the discussion about whether Speaker Pelosi will become the leader of the Democratic Party once there's a switch of the power in January. Does it make any difference to you and to the Republican agenda if she's the minority leader or not?
You know, I certainly hope that we can produce results with this Congress, because that's what people are looking for. And they're looking for cutting spending. They're looking for more jobs. And if there was one thing I can tell you about my relationship with Speaker Pelosi, it is really one that hasn't produced much at all, because she's been unwilling to sit down whatsoever to talk about policy. And that's what makes me question why that she would think that it's proper for her to sustain the current trajectory, to keep to her ideological agenda, that somehow to her it seems is more important than sitting down and seeing if we can work together to bring the agenda back towards the center so we can produce jobs and growth. It's not happened thus far over the last 4 years she's been a speaker, Greta. I'm not so sure it changes if she becomes minority leader.
Within your own party, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann wants a greater role. She wants a leadership role. She's head of the Tea Party caucus. Will she get the number 4 job likely? Would you support her for the number 4 job in the leadership?
You know, this is a vote that all the new members of our conference will be taking, and it's a good thing that our members have the choice of 2 good conservatives, Michelle Bachmann and Jeb Henschling, both of whom have stood up time and again for the constitutional concept of limited government and conservative principles. That's what both of them are about. Now, you know that I have come out and endorsed Jeb Henschling because I've had a working relationship with him for years. He's a competent conservative that can deliver results. But Michelle is a leader in her own right. And, you know, she is somebody that we listen to. She is somebody that brings a tremendous amount to the table. And no matter which way the election goes for the conference chair, I think our members will be well served.
Congressman, do you worry if the Tea Party caucus does not get a position in leadership that they're going to be on the sidelines sort of shooting at you rather than working with you on the Republican agenda, because they seem to have become quite a force within the country and even within your party?
Greta, I've always thought of the members of the Tea Party as representing America and not starting in Washington. And from what the outcome of this election shows, they played a huge role in helping get Republicans elected, because they outright rejected the stimulus bill, the cap and trade bill, the Obamacare bill, and the rampant spending and growth in government under the Obama administration. So what I believe that they're looking for is us to deliver results to those ends, is to rein in government, reduce the spending, and reorient towards a constitutionally limited government and free enterprise, because that's how we know we can get jobs created again.
But the problem is that actually delivering it's much harder. I mean, they expect that health care will be repealed, and it's very difficult for that to happen. I understand that you're going to sort of chip away with it and do other methods in order to try to minimize the impact on it. But that's what they expect, and if that doesn't happen, they're not going to be happy unless they're on board now and they sort of realize the difficulties of getting things accomplished in Washington.
Well, there's no question in my mind, Greta, that one of the first things that we should do is put a repeal bill on the Obamacare across the floor and put the marker down that that's what we believe should happen, and we should start again and replacing that bill with the kind of health care that Americans want, which is lower cost and maintain the kind of quality they have. The voters demonstrated on last Tuesday Obamacare is not the future of health care for them, and we're going to try and deliver on that as quickly as we can.
But if you don't deliver on it, is the Tea Party movement going to say you didn't do it, and now they're going to be mad at you because they have been sort of pushed out of leadership if they don't make it this time around in terms of leadership? That's what I'm asking, sort of a strategic political question.
Well, you know, again, I think what it is as we've spoken before, Greta, taxed enough already. That's what moves the Tea Party. That's what moves most independents in this country right now. The government's grown too big. So we'll have to demonstrate consistently that we are focused on trimming the size of government, putting America back on a path to a balanced budget, and reining in government from every aspect of our economy so that the private sector can begin to grow again. Healthcare is no exception. We need to emphasize a doctor-patient relationship. Those are the kinds of things that we will be focusing on and aiming to deliver on in this next Congress.
Congressman, thank you and good luck, sir.
Thanks, Greta.